Hello, I Nishal Kumar yet again welcome you to Brainers. It's always a privilege to engage with the esteemed audience, and today I'm going to present a perspective which the larger audience may not find themselves to be in sync with. I want to speak about economic and financial scenario and narrative of India in the year 2019. If I were to tell you that we are a booming economy, perhaps you will feel that the man has gone bonkers. Perhaps you will feel that I have gone bananas. And you shall be right in believing to some extent that I might have gone bonkers. I do not believe that the perspective which you are having in your mind and the masses is having is only based upon the information which the masses are consuming from the media agencies or otherwise all the online platform. And what is the communication being made by the institutions, be it domestic institutions or global institutions, all across the board at multiple level. Institutions, economists and people are stating that we are facing a financial crunch. There is a downturn in economy which is spectacularly incorrect, sir. Yes, I know when I say this, perhaps you may want to believe this with a pinch of salt. And it's good that you believe things with a pinch of salt. They claim that the GDP, the growth rate has come down to 6%, 5%, which is why they are very cynical about the growth prospect of India going forward. This is the ratiocination and the rationale which is being given, not just by domestic institution, but also by the global institution. Moody's, S&P, eminent credit rating agencies, including IMF, is painting a very bleak picture about Indian economy, which is very sad. And it is sad because, let me emphasize, that our economy is booming. The potential of growth in our economy is huge, gargantuan, humongous. India is going to produce at least 100 billionaires in coming 10 years. At least 100 billionaires in the coming 10 years. How? That is the question. Now, let me approach this issue with a different point of reference. We all know that India managed to grow post, of course, 1991, when the policy of liberalization, privatization, globalization happened. The effect culminated and started to fructify only after 2000. And since 2000, or perhaps even before, the point is, for more than a decade, we managed to grow at the rate of 7%, 7.5% and 8%. Is this growth of 8% by any means less? The answer is emphatic no. Because I'll tell you, the interesting narrative is that when global superpowers like US, like Europe, were growing at the rate of 3%, we were delivering a growth rate of 8%, and that is true till date. Just Google what is the rate of growth of economies like America and Europe. You'll be amazed to find that their rate of growth is meager 2%, 3%, and we are still growing at 5 to 6%. How is this happening? That is the pertinent question. That is the genuine question. That is happening because we have a demography and we have the demand. India has necessarily become a very colossal aspirational society. The propensity to consume has increased exorbitantly. Thanks to technology, thanks to internet, thanks to online platform, and thanks to smartphones, and thanks to Reliance Jio. Yes, now the tariffs has been changed. That is understood. However, will I be wrong if I were to suggest that Android phone and smartphones have reached every nook and cranny of the country, including the villages and the most remote locations? Network is available across the length and globe of India, and that is very important because everybody, irrespective of whether you are educated, uneducated, semi-educated, has an access to mobile and online platform. And thanks to websites, particularly Google, particularly YouTube, Facebook, social media sites, Instagram, this had led to huge increase in terms of access to information. More than 90% of the India is now exposed to both domestic as well as international information. And this information has created a paradigm shift in the psychology of common masses. Today, this information has led to a huge revolution in terms of awareness. And this awareness has culminated into a propensity to have a better lifestyle. It has created a propensity to convert, to make the India an aspirational India. A dream has already been sold. People have bought that dream, and come what may, India is not gonna stop till it achieves that dream. Hitherto, people would vanity, inertia, people would not like to work because perhaps they were not having huge aspirations. But today's India is very different than yesterday's India. Today's India is saying that even if I have to work for 12 hours, 14 hours, I will work. But I want to achieve my dream. Indians are having an objective and a purpose. We no more dilly-dally. We don't no more want to procrastinate. We are willing to put our best to achieve our dreams. And I say that India is going to grow at the rate of 10%, 12% in the coming decades, and 100 billionaires are going to produce in the given 10 years because the society is so very motivated. A dream has been sold and we will achieve that dream come what may at all cost. The global slowdown of economy has never been a bone of contention, an issue for India, because India does not depend upon global economy. You see, you would have heard about 2008 recession, and of course our stock market crashed. But then, was the recession truly felt in India? Did the recession reach our household? The answer is no. The stock market stand, and that was because of a separate reason, and which is because FIIs who are supposed to be huge investors in our stock market chose to pull out and shuck out their investment, which is why stock market crashed. There was no other reason. Our fundamentals were doing pretty good because we as an Indian society are insulated from global downturn. We are insulated from global downturn because the indigenous demand in India is huge and astronomical. In the last decade, a new demography has evolved. A completely new demography has evolved. This demography is called neo-middle class. A new middle class is altogether evolved in terms of democracy. Moreover, we have the most important resource on the face of the earth. And what is that resource? That resource is human capital. And perhaps you would have understood what I am trying to say. I am trying to say that 65% of the population is less than 35 years of age. Therefore, the population that can work is 65%, which is perhaps 80 crore people in India, 90 crore people in India, 80 crore people in India, 70 crore people in India belong to an age bracket who can work day in, day out to achieve their dream. And they are going to work day in, day out to achieve their dream. Come what may. We are the youngest country across the globe. Manufacturing sector is not picking up. Demand is not picking up. Investments are not coming up. Credit growth are not coming. These are all superficial and cosmetics. The primary rationale for what I am vouching for is aspirations. We have a population which is an aspirational and motivated population who is willing to work very, very hard. You know what? Let me share a few data, very relevant data with you. I stay put up in Noida, and you know, in Noida every year 10 unicorns are born. What are these unicorns? Every year there is 10 companies who are able to be successful and have a turnover of 100 crores. Every year this is happening. So if Noida is producing 10 unicorns per year, you can well imagine as to what is the state of the economy. The potential to grow in India is huge. And if you don't believe me, you just make me understand as to why India attracts maximum number of FII and FDI across globe. I know, Baba, the Moody's and S&P and IMF are painting a very bleak picture of Indian economy. And I don't want to go into politics as of now. You know, I'm from Brainers. And the management of the Brainers has given me the authority to stand with the truth, come what may. So when it comes to castigating and putting up a perspective which is against the government, I put up a perspective. But if I put up a perspective which is wrong, which is anti-India, that wouldn't be wrong. That would be wrong. Because believe me, the kind of narrative which is being pushed by media and institutions are incorrect. They are not true. Sir, don't feel that Indian economy is into shambles and down the drain. In fact, So much so that India is the only hope. And soon, perhaps I might be exaggerating, but you would see the next Google will happen in India. And within 10 to 15 years, we'll become economic superpower. We are already 7, 8, 9 in terms of size of economy. We have powerful macros. Our fiscal deficits are okay, inflation is okay, BAP is okay, per capita income needs to be improved. Everything macro fundamentals are very strong. There is no issue of any kind, either in color or in kind whatsoever. We have an aspirational India. We have an India that we have a demography. We have an India that has a demand. See, Modi's and they have a sinister design. You know, the interesting story is that the FII and the FDI that we are getting are from offshores. And unfortunately, for instance, there is a company X. This company X is choosing to invest into its Indian market through via FDI and FII more than they invest in America. They are investing in India market. American companies investing in India market more than they are investing in America. Why? Because they know the potential of growth and generating profit in India is non-parade. It's unprecedented. Hence, please do not be misguided by the information you are consuming. These informations are wasted. These foreign players, because they are going through a massive downturn, they want their companies to invest into their companies, and that is the paradox, that is the irony. Their own companies are wanting to invest in India because they see profits in India. Yes, I know that the success rate of startup is not as per it was expected, and that is because of the different reason. Startups are not failing because there is a demand deficit. Startups are failing because there is a problem with the planning and execution of their business model, which is why startup is failing. Startup is not failing because of demand crunch. You know, let me share with you an example. Let's say there's an MBA graduate from an average B school. He manages to, after having completed MBA, he manages to get a job of, let's say, 3.5 lakh salary, the beginning salary. I'm talking about average colleges, average MBA colleges, and he gets 25,000 rupees in hand. And within a month or 3 months, the first thing that he will do is buy an Apple mobile. And in the coming 3 months, which is post 6 months, he'll buy a car. He'll buy Levi, he will buy Puma. Even if his salary is 25,000, he will be making an expenditure of 50,000 per month, thanks to our banks who are willing to extend credit. The basic structure and the character of our banks have changed. Banks have realized that to grow, that to maximize their profit, they had to push credit, because credit gives them maximum profit, and which is why a credit is being extended. Don't go by the stories that there is a credit shortfall. It is just a superficial thing, and whatever little decline that you are seeing is cyclical. We managed to grow for 12, 13, 14 years at a very huge rate, 8%. After every long expansion and growth, there is a short-term contraction. And in fact, this is not even a contraction. This is a consolidation. And consolidation is good for economy. We are not contracting, we are consolidating. And just look at our stock market, sir. Sensex has gone as high as 40,000. And let me tell you, that within 10 years Sensex is gonna cross 1 lakh. What is the amount of growth that you can get out of our stock market? 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 10 lakh % times. You would have heard stories about your father if they had invested in Reliance or other blue chip companies when they were young, when they were earning. You know, the corpus, the money that they hold in terms of shares that they are having is at least 10,000 times more than their savings, because they chose during those 80s and 90s to invest in stock market, and they are reaping the benefits now. If somebody would have invested 1,000 rupees into a Reliance share in the year 1985, by now he would have already become a millionaire and a billionaire. What is the kind of return that the stock market offers? On an average, stock market is giving a return of 16%. That is the average figure. I am promoting stock market. I know there is an inherent risk. To be able to be successful in stock market, you have to be very keen observer of the market and the financial situation in India, and many of us are so very occupied in our career that we just don't have time, and that is not an excuse to not to invest in stock market, sir. Even if you don't have time, let me tell you, inform you, there is a different route through which you can invest in stock market and enjoy the profits, which is mutual funds. What are mutual funds? Is nothing but, let's say there's Reliance Asset Management Company, mutual fund company. They do what? They take money from investors, and that money is pooled together and a fund is created, and this fund is invested on your behalf by the fund manager into the stock market. Who is this fund manager? This fund manager is the person who is an expert in finance and economy. These fund managers are from Harvard. These fund managers are from Cambridge, IIMs. Corporates are paying them 2 crore, 5 crore rupees per year. The only job of this fund manager is to invest your money into stock market. Therefore, even if you don't have if you are not a keen observer of market, I would suggest go for small mutual funds. It's gonna give you phenomenal returns. There was one fund, perhaps I would be wrong, but I guess I'll write. There was one fund called Reliance Growth Fund, which started at a NAV at a price of 10, and today I believe the price of that particular fund is crossed more than 500. Perhaps it would have even reached 600, 700, I don't know. So what is the kind of returns which has been delivered? Astronomical. Moreover, you just don't have choice, sir. You have to get into equities. You have to get into mutual funds. I say this because if you want to play a safe game, your money is not going to grow. If you park your money in fixed deposit because of security, let me emphasize that this fixed deposit at the max can give you a return of 7%. But what is the effective return in a fixed deposit? The effective return in a fixed deposit is as little as 1% and 2%. I share you this because inflation also has to be factored in, and as is the case generally, inflation is normally 5 to 6%, and the rate of return in a fixed deposit is 7%. So what is the effective return? Effective return is 1% or 2%. So not investing in equity is actually killing your growth potential. So I was basically trying to explain that parking your money in fixed deposit because you think fixed deposit is secure is actually killing your money. If you are really interested into growth, if you are really interested into becoming a millionaire and a billionaire, equity and mutual fund is the only option. Cryptocurrency is banned in India, so let's not talk about cryptocurrency. I would choose to restrict myself to equities and mutual fund. And you know what? I know of many people in India, there's a process called intraday trading. You trade, you sell, you buy, you sell, you do all these things in the same day. And I know of at least 1,000 people who are able to generate 10,000 profit per day in India. And in case if you're not able to do that, there are companies like Carvey and SMC Global who will be able to do intraday trading for you and deliver you a return of 5,000, 10,000 for a very small car pass. So even in terms of intraday trading, as well as investment, if you are having a time horizon of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, equity is best amongst the asset class. Equity, by equity I mean equity as well as mutual fund. That is the best asset class in terms of return. It will help you achieve your dreams. One income is not enough, sir. You have to have double income. Working as a PO, working as a sales manager, working in any job, you perhaps at the max at the end of the career would be able to have an income of 35 lakhs, 50 lakhs, at the max 1 crore. And that is where your life is going to end. But if your dream is to make 10 crores, 25 crores, 50 crores, go for equities. Go for me. There is no risk. People say the equity is a gamble. It's a sham. It's a farcical, arbitrary, unfounded concept. Equity is not a gamble, sir. And in case if you feel that you require a technical expertise, or if you require the basic know-how of equity market, approach us, the brainers. Give us the opportunity to educate you and enlighten you in terms of equities and possibly all investment in instruments. We will enlighten you. We will educate you. We have the best of the faculties with us. And moreover, I am not saying that come to us. There are many such institutions which are offering you knowledge of equities, mutual fund, derivatives, future and options, debentures, debt, liquid fund. There is FMP, fixed maturity fund. There are so many institutions in India who are willing to offer you the knowledge at a very low cost. If you don't believe us, don't trust in us, there are others. However, I like to tell you that the team of faculties that Brenner had is commendable. And let me emphasize, I am not a trainer. I am only a public speaker. This Nishal Kumar is not a trainer. We have a devoted trainer at our disposal. You just don't want to miss this bull run. You just don't want to miss this plunder. You just don't want to miss this loot. You just don't want to miss this dacoity. There is gigantic potential that our economy has in store for you at all levels, be it in service sector, be it in manufacturing sector, be it in financial instrument. You know, sir, what is the rate of growth of financial market? The rate of growth of financial market is 8.5%. Every day, every year we are growing at the rate of 8.5%. And that is compounded every year. So just imagine the kind of money which can be looted from the market. And even if you don't have the knowledge, you can enter the market through mutual funds. There are multiple avenues. So let's stop buying an alibi, stating and believing that because we don't understand stock market, we'll not enter the stock market. That is a lame excuse. And if you don't trust a third party to invest on your behalf, you can yourself learn. 1 hour of study for 1 month is enough to have sufficient knowledge about equities and stock market and mutual funds. 1 hour is sufficient. In 1 month, you will be able to have the basic understanding of stock market. Come to us or go to anybody you have a trust on. But I supplicate and implore that let us not miss the opportunity to become millionaire, billionaire, and perhaps even trillionaire. With that said, I conclude. Thank you.